Hey y'all, it's Amanda. Welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to talk about the books I read in the month of August. Alright y'all, we're here to talk about the books I have read since the mid-month wrap-up. If you have not seen my August mid-month wrap-up, I will link it down below and on the screen. But I have several books to talk about here. I did participate and co-host in the Keep Me in Suspense readathon. I have an entire dedicated vlog for that readathon and one book that I finished for the prompts in this video that I'll talk about. I will link the vlog if you've not seen it as well. So, as usual, all the reviews, links to Baker Bookhouse, if it's a Christian fiction, and Amazon will be linked down below for you. The book I read since the mid-month wrap-up was Beneath the Surface by Lynette Blackburn. I did talk about this in that review vlog for the Keep Me in Suspense readathon, which, by the way, thank you so much, Caitlin, for asking me to help co-host with you this month. Absolutely loved it. Also, Jeanette was Jane Reads was a co-host. So if you're not following their channels, I will link them down below. Caitlin at Chronicles of a Book Nerd and Jeanette at Jane Reads. Okay, housekeeping done on that. So anyway, Beneath the Surface. This is a Christian romantic suspense, book one in the Dive Team Investigation series, and I ended up giving this 3.5, 3.75 for whatever, somewhere in that realm of 4 stars. Okay, I did give it 4 stars on Goodreads, and this is my first Lynette Blackburn, and it will not be my last. I'm really excited to read more of her books. This is one that was published in 2018, and I have several of her newer ones on my shelf. I actually have this entire series also on my shelf. I like her writing style and the characters and the romance in this one. The only thing that like dragged this down a little bit for me is the suspense aspect. It really wasn't my favorite. The way it ended, it was more tell me, not show me. Also, like, the person who did it, you were like, who was that again? I don't always love that, and some of the details surrounding the actual murders were a bit gruesome for me personally, but other than those things, I still really enjoyed my time with this, and I'm planning to continue on in the series and read more of her books. So, this is about Leah, and she lives in North Carolina. She works in the ER at the local hospital, and someone tampers with her brakes. She's fearing that this is her stalker coming back. We don't know what's going on. She reaches out to Ryan, her old high school friend turned homicide detective, and or investigator, detective, whatever, to help her. Okay, Ryan is using his skills as a volunteer underwater investigator with the sheriff's office dive team to help out with all of this and this mystery. There's a mystery of finding this man on her property dead underwater, so there's that, and they have a connection, or to Leah, I think. Does that person have a connection to Leah? Let me look at my notes. I'm pretty sure. Maybe? Yeah. Either way, somebody was dead on her property. Okay, y'all. And things go on from here. All right. So they try to figure everything out. Someone's after Leah. It's a whole thing. So kind of a couple different things happening here. But as someone who loves a good romantic suspense, I think this had a really good cast of characters. And the romance, like I said, it really stood out for me. But like I said, the suspense just wasn't really for me 100%. Either way, I think that this had some good faith elements in here that I really enjoyed as well, and I plan to continue on in the series. So if you like a good Christian romantic suspense, check this one out, okay? The next book I read was Shield of the Mighty by Connilyn and Cossette. I was on the launch team for this. This is book 2 in the Kingsman series. So really enjoyed this one. I give it 4 stars. This is a very captivating story that's going to transport you right into ancient Israel in the Old Testament times during the reign of King Saul, okay? The story follows Zevi, who is a warrior, a child who was captured by the Philistines long ago, and he is a captain in King Saul's army, he's tasked with recruiting different soldiers and artisans for the king's court. And so in this, you see Zevi go back to Marisha, however you say that, Marisha, however you say it. But here we see him go there and really see his character develop in this story. He is struggling through his past memories and things he went through in the past. Then we see him meet Johanna, and she is a perfumer who has a shop with all these beautiful scents and everything that she hides from the world, and she is grieving the loss of her husband, so she's a widow, and we see her learning how to start this business all over again after losing her husband by herself. She's trying to figure this all out, and she ends up meeting Zevi, and she's not really sure about him at first. There's some like forcing of her to go with them, that kind of stuff. But they embark on this unexpected journey together, and there's chemistry that starts happening with them, and I really like that. So yeah, I really like the rich historical context in this, in the biblical times during this. Transports you right there. It feels accurate for the biblical times. and you have all these details of like these markets and the lands and the battlegrounds of the men fighting, all that stuff. So if you like a good biblical fiction story with fictionalized characters, this is definitely one to check out. All right, the next book I read was Between the Sound and Sea by Amanda Cox, and this is a Christian contemporary fiction story. It has this lighthouse restoration story. It's a redemptive family saga, had some good faith content. It has a very immersive setting, has a little bit light romance, but it's a lot of secrets, mystery, legends, all of those things kind of wrapped into one in this story. And so I ended up giving this one 4 stars, and one of the quotes I really liked in this was, "Because God meets us right where we're at, and maybe things in our lives get broken down and beat up along the way. The good news is the restoration work is kind of his specialty." I really enjoyed this, you guys. It surprised me. This is my first Amanda Cox book. Recent release that follows Josephina, or Joey, who takes this opportunity to help restore this old lighthouse. And little does she know, there is this big story behind it, lots of legends and stuff that she's going to find. She meets this 81-year-old named Walt and his grandson Finn. We see them kind of go on this journey together to uncover what happened a long time ago. I really enjoyed the faith elements, immersive setting, all that stuff like I said. The characters, mystery behind the lighthouse. It was like slow moving but really interesting. So it was more like this generational story as well, because you're learning things that happened in like the 1940s, and then we're in the Outer Banks in North Carolina in 2007. I really liked how Amanda just brought the story all together. You see Joey trying to figure out who this lightkeeper was and what happened to them and his daughter, while Walt is desperate to restore the lighthouse. Sorry, this cat get me all distracted. But anyway, Walt is wanting to restore the lighthouse, okay? See a little romance develop between her and Finn. I really like that. It was very slow burn, and it was just really nice to see the romance develop. So yeah, some parts, like I said, were a bit slower for me, so that's why it's not quite a 5-star for me. But if you like those contemporary fiction stories, women's fiction that have like elements of faith, family, restoration, secrets, past discoveries, lighthouses, check this one out. All right, the next book I want to talk about is Hinds' Feet on High Places. I did talk about this in great detail in my reading vlog that was the Keep Me in Suspense readathon vlog. I had like a bonus chat on faith and Hinds' Feet. And y'all, I'm so glad that I read this month. Krista over at Books and Jams did a wonderful read along with some great live shows. I was able to participate in the chat over there on those live shows. I will link those down below for you to check out. But she had some lovely ladies that were live with her and just had great discussions about their experiences and how they related to these stories, this story in this book. I have an entire review with different graphics and things that I put on the screen in that video, but I will link the review down below if you want to check that out. I made some fun graphics and posted those on Instagram in my review for this book. But I mean, what can I say? You know, this book honestly transformed my heart. I cried. I felt conviction. I felt these warm hugs from the Lord in this. I felt seen, heard, loved. I am much afraid, and she is me. And that's exactly what I said, you know. I mean, this book ministered to me, and the Lord is always there with you no matter what valley or hardships you're going through, and that was ever present in this story. He will not leave you. He will not forsake you. When you doubt or think that he has left you, he has not. We learned so much about delays and how those are not always a no. When you're in the valley of suffering, the Lord is a hand. He is right there, and all you have to do is call upon his name, and he will answer you in your trials and tribulations. And so little Amanda was really blessed and healed by several things that I learned about in this book, and just really related in this. And it just, we have some storms. We have some storms going on. But I don't know what I'm saying. So all I can say is this is a really great Christian allegory that I think everyone should read in their lifetime. It's kind of one of those timeless books. It was written in 1955. The author is Hurnard. Yeah. And this edition, I will link it down below, from Amazon. It's like $10 or $11 US, but it has some really great just illustrations and things. You can kind of see as I flip through. You can see how much I've highlighted as well in this. And in the very back, you have these coloring pages and like a little autobiography of her, but you have some coloring pages that I really want to color at some point. So yeah, that's really all I have to say. Definitely one I recommend that everybody reads in their lifetime. All right, the next book I read was Target Acquired by Lynette Eason. This is book 2 in the Lake City Heroes series, and book 1 was Double Take. And if you know me, you know that Double Take was one of my favorite books that I read. It's a 5-star for me. I absolutely loved it. It was so engaging, and just, I love the characters and everything. This is a Christian romantic suspense series as well, so there's faith content. I really enjoyed all those things. But in this one, I just kind of wasn't connected with it as much. I did give this one 3 stars. Take me with a grain of salt, though. I don't know what it was. I say it's 3.5. I don't really know. It's really more like 3 stars. This one is dual timeline, and I was really more connected with the 1940s timeline in this, where we're at this mental institution, like an insane asylum, and we're following this one woman's story of being thrown in the hospital by her father, and like there's some reasons he didn't want her to be with this man and all this stuff, so we're following that, and there's this doctor that's in the insane asylum that's actually trying to help her, so I was invested in that, and I thought Lynette did a really great job of writing that historical timeline. I'm like, girl, I can read your historical fiction. Like, come on, write some historical fiction, because that was great. And I'm not saying anything bad about the romantic suspense timeline, but for some reason in the present day, I wasn't connected to Kinsey and her guy Cole for whatever reason. But it's still, I think a lot of y'all would enjoy this, so again, grain of salt. In this, we have this girl Kinsey, and she is a medic on the SWAT team. Cole Garrison, he cares for her. He's there helping out and all that stuff. We know we have the two together. Okay, we got the romance. Honey, we got some storms, honey. Y'all hear this? Oh my gosh. So anyway, I really liked how we were learning how the past timeline was integrated in with the current, but for some reason, I just wasn't as engaged in the present timeline, okay? Love the writing, all that good stuff, but wasn't connected to the characters. And I think a lot of this had to do with, like, we kept seeing the whole plot being like, oh, Kinsey is not really, she's the only woman on this all-male team, but everything's because she's a female. And I'm like, come on, son. I just don't love that all the time, in general in books. So that kind of was like taking it down for me a little bit, because there's all this about how these men don't want her on the team. And I'm like, would it have really been that big a deal? I don't know. Maybe so, but it was a bit overkill sometimes. But I liked the romance that was here in general. It was slow burn. To kind of get to know each other, all that stuff. But the suspense, again, left me wanting more. So, yeah. And I also kind of struggled to keep up with who was who, that kind of stuff. You're kind of, I don't know, you don't really just, plus you don't really see, that's the other thing. You don't really see what happened with the 1940s timeline. It kind of cut off and we were done and we were told, not shown. So those are some of my gripes about it. But honestly, it was still a good book in the series. I'm going to continue on. I'm going to keep reading Lynette's books. It's just an average romantic suspense for me. Doesn't mean it's bad. So yeah, I think some of y'all would enjoy this. Check it out. Link down below, all the good stuff. But I highly recommend Double Take. It was like my favorite of this so far. But book 3 in this actually comes out in January. And there is, I think it's January. Anyway, sometime early next year, and it's like a firefighter thing. I don't know. The whole cover is giving everything. I'll put the cover on the screen. It's giving everything I need for a fire suspense. And I always like those because you don't see that a lot. So I'm definitely going to be reading that. So yeah, that's my thoughts on this one. And maybe you'll like it better than I did. All right, next up is a book I read that was actually in my September TBR, but I finished it in August, you guys. And that is Lending a Paw by Laurie Cass. And this was a gift from my sweet friend Tammy at the Protagonist Pub. And I read this while I was recovering from surgery, and I gave it 4 stars. I really enjoyed this. This is book 1 in the Bookmobile Cat Mystery series. It was such a cute, cozy mystery. Highly recommend. It was fun, clean, no language, all that good stuff that I remember. And so it was a really good introduction to a cat sleuth series. You want more of like, okay, this girl has got her sweet cat friend, and he's gonna be sleuthing, and he's stubborn, and he wants to try to help her because he loves her, all this stuff. Really sweet cat. And a bit wild. Read this one, because I've never really read a cat cozy, and I think I'm here for it, okay? This is a really good series. So, the audiobooks are on Audible Plus if you have that, so I'm definitely going to be listening to those. And yeah, so in this one we have a rescue cat, which, is dear to my heart. I love rescue cats. And his name is Eddie. And then we have librarian Minnie Hamilton, and she is driving a bookmobile in the resort town of Chilson? I don't know. Chilson, Michigan, I guess. I think that's what it says. I'm looking at my review. Anyway, things start to happen when she least expects it. Eddie, he runs off. okay, and finds the body of this local man in town. Minnie is ready to have the police solve the case, but somehow, of course, as things would have it, they are working together to figure this out, because Eddie, he's smelling a rat, honey. He ain't messing around. He knows something's wrong. Which I thought was fun, because it's her cat. He's a rescue cat, and he's like very special and loved, and I love that. And I read this while I was sitting here with my little sweet cat Simba, okay? We love to see it. So it was just a really cozy book to read, especially like when you recover from surgery, you need to rest and you just want something very light, fluffy, and even though it's a cozy mystery and there's a death, it's very off page, all that good stuff. I highly recommend this. Eddie was just this really fun cat who was like pushing the limits, and I really like to see like the things that happen in the end there. So yeah, plus the bookmobile is a very like unique thing that you don't see a lot in books that I absolutely loved. I'm really looking forward to reading more of Minnie and Eddie's adventures. So yeah, 4 stars. All right, y'all. Now, the last book I read I finished it yesterday, and that is Runaway Bride and Prejudice by Emma St. Clair. You guys, you already know that I love me a good rom-com, and this did not disappoint, okay? I was so excited to read this. It is a hockey romance, obviously. We have the Appies. They're like my favorite hockey team, fictionalized hockey team, honestly. I need to read the ones by Jenny Proctor, because this series, like, we have Just Don't Fall, Groom of One's Own, Runaway Bride and Prejudice. Those are by Emma. And then we have got Romancing the Grump. And there's another one I can't remember right now that I'm forgetting. There's a lot of stuff going on. Okay, I'm sorry. But like this whole series is the Appies is just so fun. I love it. And this was just a really cute, sweet, clean rom-com. And we have this bad boy Van. He's dating the coach's daughter. Okay. And we have forced proximity, Runaway Bride, they go on the honeymoon, honey. You already know. It's on Kindle Unlimited. I gave this 5 stars. It's really one of my favorite rom-coms now. And there's something about the way that Emma writes her characters. There's a lot of depth. You really grow to love them. Even the side characters. We had like these side texts with the guys that made me laugh. I mean, lots of laugh out loud moments. Van's sisters in this were hilarious. My thoughts are all over the place because I literally just finished this yesterday. And I wrote my review this morning. So, but it was just a really good time, you know, lots of flirty moments, but clean, keeping it clean, and I love that. So in this we have Van, really Robbie Van, Robbie, but they call him Van. It's like Robbie Van something. Okay, but Van, he is this bad boy image guy on the Appies hockey team, and Amelia, and he calls her Mills. So we got nicknames. We got nicknames, honey. All right, Amelia, Millie, Mills, whatever, Amelia, she is getting married at the very beginning of this book, and Van finds her fiance cheating on her, and he's like, look here, nuh-uh, dude, we ain't messing around. So everything comes out of the woodwork. We find everything out at the very beginning. Lots of drama happens. The wedding is broke off. Amelia is gonna go on her honeymoon trip anyway, and Van is driving her to the airport. Her dad asks, hey, for her to go on the trip to keep her safe and all this stuff, but the one rule is he's like, now look, you cannot be getting no romantic ideas now. Look here, son, because he don't want her with him, like, you know, together. Like her dad's like, oh, he's a real peach, that's all I say, but he does not want them together. But Van cannot help but fall for the coach's daughter. Okay. Sorry, I got interrupted. My brother is here. He called. So I'm going to have to wrap this video up really quick. So, but yeah, they end up going on this honeymoon together, okay? And he ends up falling in love with her. She falls in love with him. It is a wonderful trip to see them together on this honeymoon. And it's just like, oh, I absolutely just loved it. There's so much banter and the friendships and the flirting and the sweet romance and the laugh out loud moments. It's just everything you want in a rom-com. And you really see Van and Amelia really get to know one another and fall in love. And that's all I needed. It was also one that I really enjoyed reading while I was recovering from surgery as well. It was just a comfort read, truly. I say, chapter 17 took me out. Chapter 17 took me out. I did not see how it was going to go. I was like, wait, what? So it was also really fun because I was reading this at the same time Tammy was, so I was chit-chatting with her a little bit about it. So it's kind of an impromptu buddy read. She loved it as well. And so, yeah, I don't know, something about Emma's writing, she brings these stories to life, and you really feel like they're real people, and it's just so good. So very wholesome, all these good things, okay? And so if you like a good hockey romance, clean closed-door rom-coms, bad boy main guy, and this good girl, follow the rules, FMC, okay? Banter, the opposites attract type stuff, forced proximity, the nicknames, all this stuff, runaway bride trope, like, pick this up. I'm telling you. And you can read this as a standalone. I haven't read any of Jenny's books, and it's been fine, okay? So that I need to read hers in this series, but I have read Just Don't Fall, and because Parker shows up in here from Just Don't Fall, so like it's best if you read them, of course, right, in order, but I still highly recommend this series regardless of the order you read them in, okay? I think that it's going to be a good experience either way. So they're all on Kindle Unlimited. It'll be linked down below, plus my review will also be linked. So yeah, if Emma writes it, your girl's going to read it. So that's everything I've read in the month of August. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Let me know the books that you read down below in the month of August. If you've read any of these, all the good stuff, if you want to chit chat about any of them, I'm here, okay? And as far as the Keep Me in Suspense readathon, I will put my bingo board on the screen here of kind of where I landed with everything. I don't remember right off where I landed with stuff, but I did finish the books that I set out for my TBR for that. So again, check out the Keep Me in Suspense readathon vlog if you want more of my in-depth thoughts of the whole month of August. Okay, as far as the remainder of the month, I have got 2 videos a week planned for the rest of the month. Hey, what you know, girl? She's back. Is she back for the month of September? I have got 2 videos a week, okay? I do have a work trip, though, that I'm going to Orlando for a conference. So September, like middle of September, I'll be gone. So I will have content already scheduled out for that. No worries. But I'll probably vlog just a little bit of that and see what books I take with me and all that stuff. So that'll kind of be like a vlog that I have. I might do a cozy fall vlog. Who knows? I have a like fall book recs coming, fall TBR coming, all of those good things. All right, y'all. So that is it for this video. My little man, he just coming here. I hope y'all enjoyed this one. Thank you so much for watching. He asked me for a hug. Oh my gosh, I can't lift you, son. Thank you so much. He's wanting a hug. Thank y'all for watching. I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye.